Welcome to Insights on Hustle Network Television with your host, DaQueen.
Welcome to Insights. I'm your host, DaQueen. Insights is a community-based show where we highlight and focus on community organizations such as non-for-profits, community leaders, issues facing our community, facing our teens, our seniors, families in crisis, the mental health, and the disabled. Hello, welcome to Insights. I am your host, DaQueen. Today our segment is called Parenting Autism. We have three special guests here, three parents who parent children on the spectrum. And today we are going to speak about our children. We're going to speak about what's special about our children and some of the things that they're able to do versus some of the things that are challenging for them to do. And we all know being the parent is a challenge in itself. And when you have a child with autism, that just puts more into the mix. So what I would like to do is introduce my guests. To my right is Shaida Richardson.
Hello.
To my left is Mr. Simpson, Mr. Ernie Simpson.
Hello.
And to my far left is Mr. Jonathan
Kimball.
Okay, I forgot.
Jonathan Kimball.
Thank you so much for being here today. I want to focus in on our children, because I said before, our kids are special to us if they're not special to anybody else. And I just want to let the world know about our kids and what it's like to parent our kids. Autism awareness is out there. They're trying to educate the public, but it's a little bit different from when you're in the inside looking out versus the outside looking in. So I would like to pose the first question to you guys. It's going to be a child's name, age, and something special about their personality. My son is 21. I'm also a parent with a child on the spectrum, and he loves sports, trains, and he's into the ladies too. Nice. Okay? So that's the context to kind of give you what I was looking for. So who would like to go first?
I don't mind.
Okay.
My son is 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Tom and Jerry fan.
Okay.
He loves music. He does martial arts.
Oh, great, great. Okay.
And of course, he's still in school.
Right.
He will graduate in about 2 more years.
Okay, great. Okay, Mr. Jonathan?
Yes, Jonathan Kimball.
Kimball.
My daughter's name is Jada. She's 4 years old.
Okay.
She loves French fries and Dora the Explorer.
Hey, who can't hate Dora the Explorer?
Yes,
okay, great. And Deshae?
Yes, my son is Sean Richardson. He's 11, the joy of my life. He loves animals. He just started playing tennis 3 weeks ago, and if you see the pictures, you would think he's a pro. At it, he's doing some backhand, hits. It's just beautiful. And I'm just looking forward to see what else he has in him.
Okay, that's great. Okay, now I know your children. I'm going to forget their names and the powerful names. But what I would also like to know is I'm a single parent. I've been a single parent, basically doing this by myself since my son was about 2. And hey, I like when he first started exhibiting a lot of different regressions. Is everyone here single or married or?
Single.
Single, you're married?
Yes, I am.
Lucky you. And?
Single.
Yes. Well, that is another little element that's put into the mix that's kind of could be difficult. Your daughter is still young. So, which is good, because that means she gets intervention early and things can change and she doesn't have to be where she is at this point. My son, like I said before, is 21. He is completely nonverbal. Is your son verbal?
Very much so.
Very much so. Is your daughter verbal?
Yes, she's developing her speech.
Okay, great.
Same as Mr.
Okay, so my son is the only nonverbal one here. And that could just be a challenge. Now, you know what made me think about having this particular program is just my experiences being a parent of a child with autism and the experiences you have out in public. So, tell me, how do you feel when you're out in public with your son is a little bit older. So right now your daughter jumps and she's still in the cute stage.
Yeah, but she has her moments.
I understand. We all have our moments. Have you experienced the stares yet?
Of course.
Okay. How do you handle that? Because I don't do good with that.
We put shirts on. My daughter's mom, Jada's mom, Katie Olivares. She literally turns the child into her autistic diva. Like she puts shirts on her.
I'm loving
she has the tutus with the puzzle pieces on it. She puts big shirts on her, and I've embraced it.
Oh, that's
I mean,
cool.
I was at a cheerleading event for my niece. We went to support her, and you know, it's hundreds of kids in there. They're dancing. They're just trying to run on the floor. I grab her.
Oh, that is
once
great.
they all sat down, she ran to the exit, which means she ready to go.
Right.
She holding on the door. She couldn't leave. She laid flat on the floor, right by the exit.
Right.
You know,
That
I said,
is
leave her
great.
alone.
That's
But our
great.
support team is so awesome. You
That's
know, one
good.
thing that I really can thank God about is the family and friends that we do have. Like, we just did the autism walk we do every year,
Right.
and a bunch of our friends and family have come out to support us. Jada has an awesome support team,
Oh, that is great. 'Cause
which
that
makes it a
all the
lot
difference.
easier. Yes, it
That
does.
makes a big difference.
Because
And that's something I did not
Yes,
have.
indeed. That fear of acceptance in your
Right.
family and being judged
Mhm.
and things like that. You know, having the family and friends that her mom and I both have is just awesome. It's definitely a blessing from God.
Oh, that's
Indeed.
great. I mean, I've never even heard anything like that.
No,
So
honestly,
that's great. Okay, well, on to our stories. How has your experience been with your son growing up? Yes. And
Well, contrary to Jonathan with his daughter, my son, I've had some issues with him in the public.
Mhm.
When he doesn't want to do something, he goes into his meltdown.
Mhm.
Meltdowns where he's starting acting out, or he'll.
Right.
I've not really had where he lay on the floor,
Mhm.
but I've had different challenges that I had to
Mhm.
deal with.
Right.
And I say I because I always will be the person who deals with them, because I seem to have the best
Right.
kind of
Effect
interaction
on him.
with. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
The irony of it all, I did not know he had autism, although I was told there was something quote unquote wrong with him.
Mhm.
He's the last child in my household,
Okay.
but I just said, hey, he's around adults.
Mhm.
Turned out that he did have it, but even still, you would know that he had it because he's not a quote unquote atypical child exhibit. He, like I said, he does his karate, but still in all, if I don't control him, sometimes he will do a little dash. He's
Right.
much older now, so he's much more contained.
Mhm.
And I don't want to use the word contained in a negative sense.
Right.
It's the fact that he is willing to work, but if he can't express himself,
Right.
that's where I'll get the problem of him acting out. Once he knows what he wants to say, he can get it across. I don't have too much of a problem with him.
Right, and that's one thing I would like the audience to know. One of the main causes for meltdowns and behavioral issues or acting out of a child that's on the spectrum with autism is the communication. Your son has great communication.
Yes, he does.
My son has no verbal communication, communicates in other ways, but that's a major frustration. Whenever you want to say something and can't get it out, or you want a need met and you can't tell the person what it is, it could just be, you just don't want to be here right now. You don't want to deal with these people right now, but you can't say it. Or if you're verbal, but it still doesn't come out the way you want it to come out, and you're not receiving the immediate, gratification of what you want, that's one of the reasons for the meltdowns and the behavior issues or problems that you'll see. Let me go to Shaina and you tell me about your experience.
As far as stairs, my son is 11. He's a big boy. He's about 4'8" now. When he was 3, it was kind of, maybe he's a little taller. When he was 3, 4, maybe it was a little bit acceptable. But I mean, I never really, paid attention too much to the stairs because I felt if I did, it would take the energy that I had to deal with Sean out of the whole equation, and it would actually make, the behavior worse. So I was, if you want to say like your daughter was a diva, I was a diva in that sense, and just not even caring what people, were saying, when they were looking. It was just all about Sean, containing him in a positive way, making sure he didn't hurt anybody, making sure he didn't hurt himself. So I never really, was, bent over people looking, saying crazy things. It just didn't bother me. I just always been strong on, just going ahead, making sure that he was able to be safe and communicate. And the biggest thing when I go to see, professionals is, handling his emotions, regulating his behaviors. Because as kids get older, especially with boys going through puberty, they tend to get a little bit more aggressive.
Yes.
That is so true.
You know,
Yes.
we're working right now with, a behavioralist that, you know, we're trying to manage those behaviors and giving him the language, like you also said in the beginning, when he's upset, you know, going over little skits, you know, the antecedent, the behavior, and what's the consequence with the visual, you know, field. So it's working. So his behaviors have, you know, gone down. So then that means the stairs go down as well.
Right,
So,
because they can't detect it.
exactly.
And in my particular experience, I was like one of the only people in my period. I knew no one else that was going through a child that had autism. And he's an attractive young man, so when he was 4 and 5, he was still cute. No one really paid any mind. He got to be like 10 and 12 and going through puberty. That's also when behaviors kind of spike for boys and girls, but especially for boys, because they feel they strengthen. And a lot of things with our children are typical. They just have the autism compounding what's going on with them in their bodies and things that are happening and they can't control it. But it was really hard. And unlike Shaida, stairs bother me. I would almost be, and you know, it's not good to let other people affect you because you're there for your child, but I just wasn't equipped to handle all of that. So, but you know, you live and you learn. As time goes on, I'm still getting better. I'm still learning how to deal with it. My son is much older. He's 21. I wanted to also ask you guys, with my experience, my son was I say misdiagnosed when he was about maybe 3 and a half, 4. Did you guys get a direct diagnosis or quote unquote label to get the intervention for your child at the once you start seeing?
Well, with Kadeem, he was not really diagnosed until maybe 4 or 5 years old. I mean, the pediatrician was telling me that there is something there, but I was in denial because he's the last child in the house.
Exactly.
Yeah. My particular one was because he's the only child in the house and there's so many adults that he's just, you know, a very typical kid. But then he was actually diagnosed around 5 years old.
Okay.
And it was ironic because he would do everything like every other child.
Yeah.
We had him in a daycare. The only thing that he did not do that most children do, they would sit in the chair, he would lay on the floor, they would get stuck in answering the question. He rolled over, stand up, answer the question, sit back down. So it was hard for me to say that he has autism or any issues because I just said it's a typical kid.
Right.
So I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Okay, and your daughter?
Once again, I just gotta give it up to her mom, Katie Olivares. She actually works for like foster care, ACS. So she caught the signs early.
Right.
She was like, when she started walking, things she wouldn't do, she wouldn't jump up and down. She would kind of cry a lot when strangers held her. She paid attention to the signs early. We're talking like 1.5, almost 2 years old.
That makes a big
where
difference.
her mom
too.
saw, like, hold up, I want to get her evaluated. She got evaluated, and obviously they diagnosed. And as a man, you know, I was in denial.
Yeah.
Like my kid, what are you talking about? Look at my other children, everything is good. Don't give me that, you know. But and then with her, she's embraced it. Like she's like I said, her autistic diva. When I talk about services, this woman, my daughter's mom, she gets her everything she did.
That makes a big
She
difference.
has a physical therapist come to the house. She has a speech therapist come to the house. This is after coming from his early school, because she goes to his school. The physical therapist comes to the house to speech. Her iPad is her favorite thing. They set up games on there. Her mother wrote a letter. She entered a contest from some lady who's down south whose child has autism, and she was donating like an iPad to whoever in like 600 words or less gave me why your child would benefit or need this iPad. And so my daughter's mom wrote one and won. So she won the iPad too. So Jada's haven't puts it down since. You know, she loves that thing.
Right.
But yes, her mom saw the signs early, detected it early, get her everything. We still getting free diapers and stuff like that. If you need big diapers, I got them. But she gets all of that stuff.
Well, that triggers another question. Thank you for that.
Yes, you know, she gets literally every service possible.
Okay.
It's also she has, there's another autism thing where they go ride. She loves animals. Horses are her favorite. She has it in a thing every Saturday where she'll go and play with horses based on a workshop or a program that she got involved in, all free of charge. You know, all on the city's dollar. You know, so shout out to you, Katie.
It's expensive.
Yeah, so she's definitely on her job.
All right, well, she's a champ.
She is.
What about you, Shaida?
As far as diagnosis and labeling, I feel the signs were there, but within certain communities And having boys
Yes.
is like, okay, he'll start talking when he's, you know,
Yeah.
3, 4, you know. Boys talk later, so maybe the signs were there. I was young when I had him, so.
Those boys talk later. I was just some of the things we justify with.
Right.
That's what I would hear, and it wasn't
Exactly.
men saying this. These were, you know, women in my family as
Older
well.
women, you think they
Older
would know
women.
better. Exactly.
Older women saying,
Down
"Oh,
south
please,
family.
girl, he's okay. I told you to put him on his belly, let him sleep."
Yeah.
And he slept, and he went to sleep. Forget about what those people are saying,
Right.
you know. So he's fine, but as far as I mean, this is probably going into another question that we're going to ask, but Mr. Campbell got into it about, you know, services and so on. You know,
Okay, well, hold that thought.
Oh, okay.
Because then, you know, we can save that for later.
Okay.
But again, I think I was just completely out of the loop. My son didn't get diagnosed correctly until he was 9. So that means when you don't have means or a lot of money, or you don't know what's going on to advocate for your child to get those services, your child falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother interview. I'm not even getting into that. But you kind of touched on something that made me want to ask the question. Your daughter's still not potty trained?
No, we're still working with her.
Okay, my son also potty trained late, about like 3 and a half, 4. Did you
I
have?
think he's about 2, 3.
Okay.
And it wasn't that much of a problem getting him potty trained.
Because I know that's a major issue also for parents. What about you?
Sean was potty trained.
Oh yeah, I forgot. She was a champ in that area.
He was potty trained at like 2, 3, but he had basically no language at that time. And the school was saying, you know what, he's not ready, put him on diapers, and I was like, okay, you know, because some things I just can't, you know, battle, because I know my child, like you said, you know what's best for your child. So I sent him to school one day with underwears, and that was it. So, and never put him in, you know, pull-ups, diapers. It was just that, because I was working with him at school, and you would hope that the, you know, school would be piggybacking off what you were doing and, you know, backing you up, but that wasn't necessarily the case in that. But potty training with no language is
a challenge.
No, it was actually not a challenge.
Oh, it wasn't?
It wasn't a challenge. I mean, you have to set up those reinforcers.
Yeah, for me it was a challenge.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like, you know, I would put Sean on the toilet like every 15 minutes, but it wasn't, you know, nothing negative like, oh, sit here, you're gonna pee, drink all this water.
Yeah.
It was all positive, you know, like, oh my gosh, good job, Sean. Hey, you know, here's, you know, whatever he wanted, you know, chips or whatever, but me and Sean, we just have a great connection, like an awesome connection. So
It's interesting you say that, because I was sent him with Kadeem. He was never forced to do that. He would sit there and enjoy it. In fact, I had to be careful because he would start playing in it. That's typical kids.
Right.
He enjoyed learning to go from diapers to underwears, and he at that young age, I didn't have that problem.
But too, what I had to show Sean as well, because I know my son and a lot of autistic kids are visual, I actually had to show him, you know, hey, mom doing this, mom doing that. So that's another thing that working may be a little nasty to certain people, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
What you have to,
you know, and and it worked. And he got 1 and 2. Usually they say what one
the 2 is harder.
Yeah, 2 is harder, and he got both in like a matter of no time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send Jada to you.
Well, I should have known
that's it.
At the time when Siobhan was little, her son wasn't born yet, but because everybody was telling me, the elders of the family, oh, he's fine, and he was going through the transition, he kind of regressed kind of fast, because he actually was typical to a point. So he learned how to talk, he was typical in every way that little boys are typical. And then at about 2 and some change, he just got quiet, got nervous, got introverted, and then his speech went and never came back. And around that time, and see, the thing is, you were a mom, so you knew when he was ready to attempt the potty training, even though other people might have been telling you different. I tried to put the Cheerio on the potty, I did all of that. He just was not there until he was there. And then we did the timing of every 15 to 20 minutes, and then, you know, still he had accidents, but he, you know, he did finally learn. But, so you see, audience, there's a lot of different challenges that you might not face raising a typical child that we have to deal with that is not so easy. So we just ask you to be patient if you see us out in public, you don't want to no negativity. Okay, we'll be right back.
Autism affects 1 in every 50 children. Parents and individuals dealing with autism need support. A fundraiser was held during the Autism Awareness Month this April, hosted by DaQueen at the Yonkers YMCA. Support the program funded by DaQueen by contacting www.theautismproject-flos.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/autismprojectflos. You can also email her at info@theautismproject.flos.org or contact her at 914-258-1975.
Okay, we're back. Thanks for staying with us. This segment, I want us to discuss autism awareness and the big non-for-profits that promote the awareness out in society and in the public, and how us parents feel about it when you see a commercial or a celebrity talk about autism awareness. Do you feel a connection? Do you feel a disconnect? Elaborate. Anyone?
I think both. I mean, obviously awareness is a great thing.
Exactly.
You know, making the public aware that there shouldn't be judgment towards every kid. You never know what's happening with that kid. You never know what's going on. You know, in the inner city and, you know, in the hood, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, like, were they getting used? They doing drugs when they were pregnant?
Exactly.
You know, all these different, you know, stereotypes, you know, and judgments and opinions that, you know, a lot of people throw forth. Sometimes becomes, you know, irritating and discouraging, you know, as far as wanting to seek out and get more help from the public, or even having, you know, my daughter out there. Because, you know, the supermarket tantrums when she can't be picked up.
Right.
And then, you know, when she's ready to go, she'll lay by the exit and kick the door. And like, I'm ready to go push it. You know how we got like the push thing.
Right.
But at the same token, you know, the awareness is great. Let people be aware of what's happening and what's going on. That it's not something you did while you were pregnant. You know, it can happen. You know, as well as it's not a disease of anything of any sorts, you know. So, you know, I'm in between with it.
Okay.
I like advertisement because it takes away the stereotype that, oh, your child is being cursed because
But the stigma of it.
Yeah, the stigma of it, because of what you did, this is what's coming out of you because of your child. And it's unfortunate that folks don't realize that this may have been in the quote-unquote closet for a while, but they're now finding a way to label it or to say, oh, this is what autism is, versus when you had other folks that had some issues around disabilities or some form of I would call it mental retardation, that maybe it wasn't mental retardation. Okay, yeah, that it is really autism. And who knows? We all might have some form of autism in us.
Yeah, we do.
I got special needs, I know that. I got special needs.
I think it's a negative, you know, and a positive. I'll start with the, I guess the negative. You see a lot of commercials or shows, what was that, Top Model, and, or you see Rain Man, was it Rain Man? I think? And you see that higher, you know, that higher IQ, that higher learning, that higher functioning. And like you said, your daughter tantrums, I don't really see that being put out there, you know, the more aggressive, not saying your daughter's aggressive, but the, you know, those maladaptive behaviors. I really don't see that being, you know, publicized so much. I just see, hey, you know, Top Model, you know, but a lot of those, like I said, are high functioning. What about the kids that are, you know, sometimes my son could be very aggressive, you know, a child that, you know, bangs his head, that has to wear a helmet, you know, so that stereotype, like you said, is not out there when they do see, you know, our children. On the positive side, also, let me continue with the negative as far as like these big corporations. You know, you mentioned that your daughter's mom, she goes out there and she gets everything, you know, I'm like that too. I get Sean, you know, free memberships, whatever I can do, you know, to get him what he needs, you know. I get it. Oh, I'm sorry. Can we cut real quick? I kind of got.
Hey,
You
can just continue where
with the big corporations, you know, when I go on their website, I'm looking to see like, how can they help me now? Research is good, you know, and it's going to take many years, but how can you, help me now with the situation that I'm going through now. So I don't really see that with certain, I won't call out those organizations. I don't see that. So when it is Autism, Awareness Month in April, some organizations I do not support because I don't see them supporting families directly.
In the community.
In the community, and other ways of awareness, I do see it as a positive because you can connect, with other parents. There's, a slew of workshops, events, that you can connect with parents like yourself. So, like I said, I do see the good and bad of,
I agree with that. I see the good and the bad as well. I do think that the bigger organizations that collect a lot of money, they get a lot of grants, are responsible to help support the families. It's a lot that you have to deal with, or that you go through, especially if you're a single parent. If you don't have another parent that can take off the slack, or if there's something you need to do. And then employment, it's a whole host of things. Employment, if you're a single parent, is almost impossible. Who works from 8:30 to 2:30? Monday through Friday, and then sometimes not during the week because it's vacation from school. It's like you can't do it. So, and they know this. I mean, it's good because they have the money to put in the research. And pharmaceutical companies are a part of that, so that's like a positive and a negative. But when it comes to the community, day-to-day living of people that need help with, because some kids don't sleep. Their sleeping patterns is real short and sporadic.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're a single parent trying to hold it all down, fight for child, advocate, get services, and it's just a lot. So it's just a lot on the parent's shoulders. It can be really tough. Okay, let's think of the next question. Now, as far as the autism awareness that you see in public, what would you change? Now, my opinion, or add or take away. Because these organizations are so large and they do get a lot of money, millions a year, opening up a small community center, or not even that, because that takes maybe more money than it needs to be. But in my opinion, what do you feel about just adding more professionals to the roster, more OTs and speech therapists? What do you think about that?
I think there's a need because unfortunately the last 2 years, my son has not gotten his OT. He gets his speech. I think some of these corporations could make donations.
Exactly.
If it's to the public schools, or even invest where they have folks come into the public school and quote unquote volunteer, but they pay for that service.
Exactly.
There is a need for the OTs. There is a need for PT. There's a need for speech. Okay, it's so needy that sometimes our children go without it.
They don't.
And when they go without it, it detracts from them being able to be a positive role model.
I agree. It detracts from them to even develop and get to the next level of their development. There's already a deficit. So cutting back services or not having the professionals there to give the service makes no sense. What do you think?
I agree with Mr. Ernie. I also believe that there's a major void in the inner city and the community and the hood for the information. There's a lot of young parents who don't have the information. First of all, they don't have the information on how to be a parent, let alone how to deal with a child with autism.
Exactly.
Which is why there are so many single moms, because a lot of these young men who are having these children can't deal with that, let alone the baby. But then having a baby who has a disability becomes very frustrating a lot, and a lot of them aren't ready to make that commitment. I think with these corporations, they can start little programs, not only in the schools, but in these rec centers, in the community.
Yeah.
Where can we go in the city? I'm in the Bronx, so for just autism, period. And it's everywhere. It's not like it's not like it's just random cases. Where can we go for just this, or even in the city in its entirety? We don't have it, but they have all this money and they're getting all these celebrities, to promote their products and things like that with their little puzzle piece. But there's nothing being direct given to the community and to these kids. Like I said, I'm blessed with the support team and Jada's mom who is on. But what if she didn't have the time or the resources to do it like that? What if if I wouldn't say I wasn't around, because that wouldn't even happen. But I'm just like, how do we make it helpful towards the parents or the single moms or even the dads to get this information? Like I said, I'm blessed for Jada to even go to the school that she goes to, where they even wanted to start a group for men with children,
Right.
fathers with children with autism. It's helped me tremendously already within 2 meetings. Being able to vent, being able to have a resource.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes I'm just like, what's up with these 5 foods that she only eats?
Right.
You know, and then they say, you know, like, 'cause, you know, you talk to the mom, and she's like, just accept it. This is our child, you know.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to be able to vent without the judgment or the criticism.
Right.
I can do that in my father's training. I can cuss
Exactly.
and all that.
Right.
But then at the end of the day, and I eat.
It's everything. It changes everything. It makes it the
Everything.
next day that much
Everything.
easier.
And I wish the
Believe me, I
corporations
understand.
would do that. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay,
One
Sean.
of the things
Okay.
that the corporation can do is, Jonathan is saying, when men's group or fathers who have children with autism or some kind of disability, support them because they need assistance to the extent that if I have a problem, I don't want to have to feel, oh, that's not my problem. Jonathan didn't know there was a group that shared that he's not alone. So
Right.
this corporation can come in and say, we would like to help you with the sponsorship of clubs like that. And what it helps tremendously, some of these young guys who have individuals or children who have some form of disability wouldn't feel, oh, I don't have to deal with that. You know, I got to deal with this. They embrace it because they know that they're not alone. And this is not a curse. It's just a journey that you're taking. You know, we have issues in different ways.
Exactly.
This is kind of an issue that you have to deal with. Who's to say that all of a sudden you're in that situation where you
Exactly.
need somebody else to take care of you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we come in diapers and
That's
sometimes
right.
we go out in diapers.
Yeah.
I'm just in agreement to what both of the gentlemen said. You know, just getting a word out to, you know, minority groups and just impoverished communities. That the help is there, the information is there. I get a lot of people telling me, oh my gosh, you do such a great job. I don't see moms like you. It's not that at all. They just don't have the information.
Yes.
You know, who wouldn't want to help their child out? You know,
Yeah.
when you have, to me, so many people against your child. You know, I'm like my son's biggest, you know, advocate, you know. I want to say
I think we
cheerleader,
all-
but
advocate,
It's
cheerleader
the
slash.
yeah, I'm just like his
Nurse
everything.
slash teacher
Yes,
slash everything.
everything. You know, I do wish, because he is getting older now, you know, that it would be more, you know, information out there, you know, on, you know, socialization. That's a big part, you know. OT, he gets that now. I mean, a lot of these services that the kids get now, they're gonna continue to need. They're gonna continue to need that.
Right, for their lifetime
Yeah.
lifespan.
So
I
it's just
personally-
getting that information out there.
Right. I personally feel that the organizations really, especially the top 2 to 3 big organizations that autism is their thing that they advocate and, you know, publicize to the public, they have a responsibility. Because if you go to Chappaqua, of course, those people can afford all little extra centers and things like that that they have out there that cost $500-600 a month. A parent that's getting SSI or that's on Medicaid, there's no way they can take advantage of those services. So I think they have a responsibility to the inner city and to kids that are on a financial end of the scale and functioning lower and things like that. I think it's really a crime, and to have, it's like dangling something in front of them. It's autism awareness, and this is some information that you can get, but if you want to go to this doctor that has this particular diet for your child. And the thing is, even good food is more expensive than crappy food.
No,
and
yeah,
your child
exactly.
needs, there's so many things that an autistic kid needs that they can benefit from that propels them forward. Organic foods, the correct diet for them, that works for them. Their speech and OT that we have to fight for, that they will love to cut anytime that they get a chance. Giving them extracurricular activities in social settings so they can evolve and get to the next level, or at least master one level of their development that has a deficit in it. So it's a lot that parents deal with, and I don't think people really, I think they see it, they could be a challenge, but they don't know what it's like day to day. You know what I'm saying? So I know we spoke before, you know what, let me go back, because you was talking about fathers, it just popped back into my head, and I know that mothers versus fathers, we kind of raise our kids differently, and we see and handle problems differently.
Nurturers.
And you were saying about a lot of single parents out here, dealing with that. Well, there's single parents across the board. There's a lot of mothers out here handling themselves. And me being a parent of a single young man and dealing with all his changes
I
and
really
his,
tip my hat to you.
he's 21 now, and he has his tantrums here and there and stuff like that. But you have a daughter, but you have the help, so
Yeah, I
it's,
mean,
it's,
I'm blessed.
yes, you are. Do you know?
No, trust me, I know. I mean, like I said, we walk for autism. We're at, like, even the little events that other parents throw, like like Jada's mom, she goes to a couple of events for autism, basically, on a regular basis. Like, come on, friends might throw a party for lounge, just raise some awareness.
Right.
Do some donatings. Even with the Autism Speaks, she gets her friends to donate as well as I. The support is just insane.
That's good. But see, what I was wondering, and let me just give you a quick example. Like myself, me and my son and I had a chance to go with family to Disney World. He was maybe 13. He's already had like a little light facial hair.
Okay.
I can't go with him into the bathroom. He can't come with me to the bathroom. And he always did when he was little, right? So he's not completely nonverbal, even though he understands a lot and he gets a lot. And but now that he's getting older and he's bigger, now he's 21, so he's definitely a man.
Yeah.
I'm still nervous who's in that bathroom.
No, I understand. I can
What's
imagine.
going to happen when something happens and he just disconnects for a second and just
I
be
don't want to think about
autistic?
it.
You know what I'm
I'm just saying that.
I don't want to think
how
about
will
it.
you feel like say the mom is not with you
Yes.
and then she's with you and she's 12 and she's
tough.
on her mission. There's so many things you got to think of. She's becoming a woman and you got to sit in the bathroom by herself. It's crazy. This is something that
And that would be
I
funny. I
propose to
think I'm
Shaggy
gonna
as
have
well.
somebody gonna be
See,
with
you out of this one because you're a man and your son is male, so you can watch after him and look after him and let him do his thing of what he understands versus what he doesn't. But let me tell you what I did. Really quickly, I'm not going to make it about me. We went to Disney World. On the way there, we had an early morning flight, so he was in the bathroom when there was no one in the stores. On the way back, however, we came back during the afternoon. Let me tell you, my son was barely 13 or 13. I didn't care. He was in the bathroom with us. I kept him over here so you couldn't see anybody. I didn't want to disrespect anybody. And he ended up going to the bathroom alone in Disney World in the park because he signed certain things. Like I have to go to the bathroom and go to the bathroom, yes, and okay, Shaquan, go in, use it, wash your hands and come out. But there's so many different variables. He could be waiting online. What if he cuts somebody and then somebody get mad? There's so many things you got to think about that is not a game. And my son is a complete nonverbal.
Yes.
So that's something you got to think about. But I can pose this to Shai because your son is how old? 11, right? And right now he's verbal. So that's still a plus. It's still something that I don't have for my son. But in situations like that where the sexes have to separate, did you think about that? How does that?
Thought about it. He like I said, he's a big boy, but I have so many other things on my mind right now. I'm really trying to stay in the now, and I'm not at that point just yet. Maybe next year or so. But I mean, I have to do what I have to do. If he comes in with me, so be it. And I'm all about educating people. If someone says something to me, hey, he's not supposed to be in here, I quickly, educate the person, or and I just, I just move on. But it's situations that I've tried to, get Sean to use the bathroom. So I would first peek in the bathroom and see if there's a urinal like right there by the door, and then
But you're still a female.
I mean, I do it. I'm in
So
I
but they
have
don't
my
care
foot
you.
in the exactly. I have my foot in the door, and I'm like, okay, Sean, right there. And the guys
Right.
that they go in the back to the bathroom, and it hasn't been a big thing, but I don't make that a habit. But like I said, I'm just trying to stay right now and then now. I have a lot of things going on with him, so that's not necessarily a priority, but we're working on it.
I understand.
That's
We're
my
working
fear
on it.
always.
It's not a priority.
Yeah.
What the future holds.
Yeah, it's just the not knowing. It's all about education.
And I think I'm still in that phase where I'm like, maybe she'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe, she's only 4. She'll
Right.
be 5 in December.
Right, but with all the services
and
you're
her,
getting,
exactly, and her signs, it's like literally daily she's progressing. Her speech, she can spell words out.
That's
She's
excellent.
handling her
That's
business. Jada
excellent.
Khalees,
That's
Daddy loves you. It's so insane, man. And then I think about if I had the opportunity, to correct it, would I? And I'm like, I wouldn't change my baby for
No,
nothing.
because
Take
you
the
learn
police,
so much
yeah.
at the same
Yes,
time.
indeed.
That's the same thing with my son. He's like my little king.
Right.
He can't do anything wrong. Sometimes his mother and I have a difference of opinion, and we try to work through it, but it's sometimes a little rough.
Oh, tell me about it. My son is my prince too, but no, he has his wrongs. He has his pluses and his negatives, and I do love and accept my son where he is now, but I do wish that he had the opportunity to speak, because he was speaking, because he never got the services. He just never came back, and now he's perfectly fine with no speech. I'm not fine with it, because I would like to hear him communicate, but he's perfectly fine with it. And that's another, it's just so many different issues that, parents deal with. If I could change something, that would be, I don't know if I would keep the autism, to be honest with you. But if I had a choice, I would want the speech with the autism. You know what I'm saying? Because that propels him. Because every setting that my son's in, he's always the higher functioning one. But the speech is what holds him back. So he gets bored and frustrated being around a lot of people that's so much lower functioning than him when he's on another level, maybe academically or vocationally, than they are. So then it's just a whole lot of things. Yeah, it's just a whole lot of things. So we want to let the public know that we deal with a host, I know I've said this before, we deal with a host of issues from at each development as well. Has anyone here, your child's still really young and she's progressing well, that's a beautiful thing. And your son is still kind of young too, your son is older.
Yeah, but interesting enough, yes, you kind of said, is there anything I would change about my son? Not really, because we all have our different challenges. His challenge is trying to be the youngest child in the house and fit into the adult life at a young age. So he to me, he did very well. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily.
Oh, don't get me
change.
wrong. I think autistic individuals do fantastic dealing with what they're dealing with and the deficits that they have still existing in this world that's not even made for them. So I want to get that point completely across, that I'm not saying that, I don't like him because of it. I just see that it limits my son. And as a parent, I want the best for my son. I want him to be better than me. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I mean about that. I think they do excellent. My son does excellent. I had an event this past April, the first, for Autism Awareness. It was just like a special day for parents and kids to come out and have fun. And I'm so protective of him that I was just like, what? But he was cool. He was chilling. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't bothering nobody. Nobody was bothering him. And that's what I wanted. I wanted kids to just come out and have fun. The question I wanted to ask, though, was you being a parent of a child that's 19, that's about to age out in a couple of years, and your son has a few years to go before he ages out, and your daughter has her whole future. She didn't get into really the education system yet. What do you think about facilities, placing them? Has that come across your mind? Is that absolutely a no? Is that a yes? Where he needs it?
When you say facilities,
Placing as far as living and everything.
Both my wife and I have had this conversation. I am interested in getting him into independent living. There was one time I would keep him at home, but I'm not a young buck anymore. So I have to look at the reality. So yes, I would put him into independent living.
So you don't think he can live independently on his own?
Well, that's a question that I've not really covered, but I think from what I see right now, independent living will be better for him. And as he grows older, I'm sure he'll eventually be able to move out and live on his own. But right now, independent living is where he needs to be.
Okay. And have you thought about it? What is your thoughts on it?
No.
She's in the now.
She's in the now.
Yeah.
She's in the now. That's true, you're in the now. But the thing is,
That too, but I'm just.
that's
I mean,
something
I'm trying to get myself together too, so
Right.
I can, be there for him, meaning the physical and mental, which is very hard. Eating and exercising, so I can be around and take care of him. When he gets 18, like I said, that is in the future. I'm not sure, but right now, he'll be staying with me. I would like him to stay with me until we both get old, but
right.
like you said, reality, I don't know what that has in the future stored for us, but I don't see him going anywhere.
Well, unfortunately, the way the world of mental health works, you need to be planning
Yeah.
and thinking ahead because the wait list is completely long. My son actually, is placed. He's been placed for a while. He's 21 now, and he's in a group home, and his adult residence is not ready. They knew he had to age out a long time ago. So he aged out at 21 on his birthday, and he still hasn't moved to his adult residence, which is a lot closer to home. Only because the money is frozen. You know how the government is. They cut what they can cut. They don't care who gets hurt. But he's home a lot. I interact with him a lot. They know me. They know I'm messing with my son because I'll hurt somebody. But the thing is, you don't want to wait too long. And it's perfectly fine if you want to keep your kid home forever in 12 years. That's not a problem. But whatever you decide to do, as parents, we have to always plan ahead. Because there's a wait list for the children or parents that want to place their adult children. And then there's the children that's already in facilities that's in like education since the 3 to 21 are being placed. It's just, it's a whole.
It's kind of mandatory, I think, through the ID, through the Board of Ed that
What?
you look into.
You look into, you don't have to do
Yeah,
anything
you don't have to,
ready
right.
for, but
My daughter's sister, her older sister from her mom, she's about 11, 12. She's already saying, well, Jada gonna live with me when she
I heard that. Like I said, support is everything. When you have
can't tell you
support,
enough, man. I mean, I
yeah.
can honestly think about it. Like, if I didn't have, like, Jada's grandmother, Katie's mom, and my mom as well. Her mom is just so awesome. Like I said, the support team is insane, man. I just can't get
and that's what
crazy
really counts.
to everybody,
That's what really
especially Katie's family. You know, they're so supportive. They help. They engage. I'll come get her, like all that. You know, because I was skeptical about that. Something that I brought up to Mr. Ernie in the the men's workshop, how families perceiving it. You know, I don't catch certain family members, you know, saying, oh, let me get with her. You know, the uncles and the aunts and stuff like that. Like, let me come see her. Let me check her. Because again, she has autism, and you are aware that with autism, the kid has to get familiar with you. They're not just going to go with you. They're not just going to spend a night. They will literally spaz out all night until
Right.
the primary
It's difficult.
parent comes.
Right.
And even with my mom, she's becoming more involved, more consistent. So it's just awesome. You know, the support is really awesome.
Okay.
And support is very important.
I'm telling you.
I do not have what Jonathan has, but I'm
Gotta
blessed
give
with
it
what
to
I
him.
have.
Right. I mean, I'm blessed what I have too.
I'm
Someone
blessed
don't
with
even
what I
have what I have, so.
Right. But the thing is, it's important that even the family member understand
Yes.
and appreciate the grandchildren, the
Yes.
cousin, the nephews, because they're individual first.
Right. And just appreciate them where they are. I had to learn it to be that way because I always wanted him. He needs to be doing this, and he needs to be doing that. You just gotta take them as they are, where they are right now, and then you can build from that point.
Exactly.
Okay, you have anything else to say about this? No? Okay, we'll be right back.
Autism is a complex neurological disorder that lasts throughout a person's lifetime.
More children will be diagnosed with autism this year than with AIDS, diabetes and cancer combined.
Autism is the most common developmental disorder in Australia.
Children are being diagnosed with autism every day, every few hours.
1 in 166 children born will have autism.
3 out of every 4 autistic children are boys.
The fourth is a girl.
30,000 Australian children have autism.
No one knows the cause. There is no cure.
But there is hope.
For me.
For me.
And me.
And me.
Through research, activism and education, we can improve the lives of families with autism.
Early intensive behavioural intervention can help families achieve the best outcome for their child.
It's helping children to learn how to learn.
Doctors used to recommend institutions for people with autism.
Now we're aiming at university.
Autism is stealing the minds and personalities of a generation of Australian children.
Just think.
If 30,000 Australian children were kidnapped, it'd be front page news.
Well, 30,000 Aussie kids have been kidnapped by autism.
And we need to do everything we can to bring them back to us.
Don't let autism have the last say in a family's life.
For more information, go to autismawareness.com.au.
If you don't know someone with autism, you will.
And we're back once again, talking to my 3 parents, my special guests. It's been a pleasure. We had some really good discussions on our children, their development, and how we deal with them in the world and the public, and how the public sees us. I wanted to touch on a little bit more on services. Now, we already know you straight. We already know your mother got it all on lock.
Jada's mom.
Yeah, you just said all on lock for your daughter. But she's still young, she's 4, so she's in like the preschool setting. She didn't get to the actual education part.
She graduates Tuesday, actually.
Right, yeah. But we all have kids that's in special education. Oh, is he in special education? Yes, in special education now. Have you experienced or dealt with, and how has it worked for you? Because everything is a fight for us. We have to fight for services when you're dealing with the Board of Education, that is. And making sure that your child gets what he needs so they can get to the next level. So have you had positive or negative experience, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both.
And how have you handled the negative?
Negative, I'm still fighting, and that's for Kadim to continue to get the OT. Because somewhere along the line, the infinite wisdom of, oh, the money isn't here, so we're going to cut back on our service. You can keep this. So I'm still fighting, even now, for him to continue to get the OT. In terms of other services, like his speech, his education, it's all good. In fact, I just introduced them to something that would be helpful for Kadim, but I also preface it to the point of saying, well, I want this for Kadim, but at the same time, you're getting this, and you can use it with other children. The assistant principal said something to me yesterday. You know, I wish we had this when I was in this classroom, because it would have been helpful.
Yes.
And you did say that, you know, all this for Kadim, you want it to be used for others. So I always try to fight for Kadim, because I know when he gets something at
The other
the school,
children benefit
they're
from
going to
it.
benefit from
Exactly.
it.
Okay. Ms. Shaila, where do we start? Tell me your story.
Services. People would say my son has just a gold star service, you know, IEP, but I don't believe that. I really believe it's what the child needs.
Yes.
And for speeches and for OTs, I mean, we talk all day, we talk every day.
Exactly.
You know? So the minimum, if you guys don't know, is 2 weeks of speech and 2 weeks of OT if your child, you know, needs OT or PT. So right about now, Sean gets about 4, you know, OTs and 4 speeches, and he gets also a behavioral plan program at home.
You mean 2 times a week?
No, 4 times a week.
4 times a week, okay.
You know, minimum with the district is,
Right.
you know, two times a week. And he also gets 15 hours of behavioral management, which is, to me, has been the best, you know, thing he, you know, program, service he could have ever had. He had it when he was younger, but when you don't know something, you don't do anything, you know. After, when your child turns 5 and your child goes into special ed, they say, oh, you know, he doesn't need this anymore. But if the child is benefiting from it, then that's what the child needs. And like I said, me being, you know, immature and not knowing really how to properly advocate for Sean, I let a lot of things go. So, you know, I'm making up on a lot, which is fine, you know, I'm learning at the same time. But it's been a struggle because one, he's 11, you know, and they feel like they probably won't tell you, but at age 5, if your child doesn't, you know, get to that level that they need to get at, then, you know, not saying that they're done with your child, but, you know, hey, it's really difficult. So my child is...
It's a greater challenge.
It's a greater challenge. So my child is 11, and I'm still fighting for services. I'm in a process now, you know, hopefully not going to court, you know, with the Board of Ed, but I do have a good case, you know, why my son needs the services, and I feel he's doing so great. He doesn't have a lot of behaviors, which I mentioned earlier. His behaviors are going down, but, you know, academically, you know, he's maybe about 5 years, 6 years behind. So, you know, you can't teach if the behaviors are there, you know, so, but that's what they're saying, like the behaviors are down, so he can learn, but it's been a real struggle, you know, emotionally, you know, financially, because I don't have the money to pay for lawyers, advocates you have to pay for as well, so it's been a struggle just all around. But, you know, we're doing it, I'm doing it, you know, and he's going to be good at the end of the day, so.
Yes, everything is a fight in the world of autism. I've experienced the same thing. I've had my own struggle with the whole autism thing, with my son exhibiting certain behaviors and then finding out there's something definitely wrong, could it be this, and having a misdiagnosis, and him getting the diagnosis, then me coming to grips with this is what it is, and then advocating for him, suing the Board of Education more than once, having the lawyer the first time, still not getting the services that my son needs, then having an advocate, not being able to really afford the advocate works with you, and then going to court, that's a whole more money that you just can't afford. And then having the Board of Education take advantage of parents that either don't know no better or can't afford to fight. And I think that is like a crime in itself. So I've dealt with it as well, but we speak every day. There should even be it should always be mandatory 5 times a week. Okay, people have off Saturday and Sunday. That's fine, that's granted. But they should not, any child that has slightest speech, no, my son had no speech since he got in special ed, so it should have been no excuse. But they're looking at the money factor. So whenever they have a crunch, they cut back, regardless of who needs it or not. They don't look at it as a need thing. So with everything we revealed to you in this interview, we interviewing the parents who have struggled, they struggle in society, with people, how people look at your child, how they judge you. Then you have to fight for services on top of that. You're dealing with lack of sleep, lack of money. It's just a whole lot of issues that you're dealing with all the time. So we don't need any negativity coming from people. If you can't be helpful, then just stay over there. Okay, but we're going to wind down. I'm coming to my last question, and it's about autism awareness again. Do you plan on celebrating this year?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, well, we know you are.
So I'm saying, in month of April.
Yeah, we know autism awareness for us is every single day. It's not just in April. And, and Cheyenne?
No, I was just saying, because Jada's sister Deja, she actually brought autism awareness to her entire school.
Beautiful.
Stood in front of auditorium, did this whole slideshow.
Wow.
Yo, I was so impressed and so moved, you know, and I little tears.
Yeah,
like she literally was up there. We're talking about a crowd of people. She doesn't do public speaking and presentation, but she did this in effort of her sister and for autism awareness, and literally brought it to the school. The very next day, everyone either had to wear a blue shirt or bring $1 for the donation, and then the slideshow was just so awesome. She said, "Look, my sister likes to laugh. Look, my sister loves horses. Look, she doesn't want to talk to anyone." She had different pictures of her doing things. Look at my sister loves horses. I love my sister. When she gets older, she's gonna live. It was just amazing, man. It was just amazing. And her mom be crying all the time anyway. Every little thing she do. Oh my God, she walked. Oh my God, she turned the TV on. It's everything. So again, you know, the awareness.
That's
and the support
awesome,
is just
though.
awesome.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
awesome.
Be more blessed.
That's awesome.
Like you said, I celebrated every
Oh, yeah, I was celebrating too, and I'll be trying to put on events and do different things that make the city of Yonkers, where I'm from, where I live at, in the city of Yonkers, aware of what's going on, and just let people know that with all these people in Yonkers, I know there's a lot of people dealing with the issue, that they can come out and be a part of it, and it's for their kid and their family, so they can, you know, not feel so isolated and by themselves, and not have anywhere to take their children from. You know, let me ask you where you guys are from. You are from?
I'm in the Bronx, Soundview Houses.
And
I'm from the Bronx, in the Soundview area.
okay, and I'm from Yonkers here locally, and
Mount Vernon.
okay, so we're all pretty much close, not too far away. And last and finally, I just want to see if you want to add something in particular about your daughter, your experience that you just want to let the audience know, and that can just go for all of us.
Just, you know, I love my daughter. You know, it's just awesome meeting
No.
her dad, Jada Calise, that he loves you.
Right.
And continuously watching her develop and grow and improve. You know, I'm excited just about that, about her development.
That's
you know, shout out to her
beautiful,
mom too, Katie, who's constantly doing a great job. Our support team, her mother, my mother, our siblings, our cousins, our nieces, our nephews, just everybody, friends and family, the school.
The support.
It's just
The support
again,
is
the support
everything.
team is everything. Like I really can imagine how frustrating it would even be more of if I didn't have the support.
Right.
Like it's
and deal with all of the same
and
stuff
deal with
without
all
the
of
support.
it. And then her mom, and Katie, shout out to you. She's so awesome with even giving me literature because there's so many different levels.
Yeah.
And she know I'm open
It's a spectrum.
to look to see like she's improving, she's gonna grow out of it. But she always like if she don't, you know, we still gonna love her and here's some material. You know, her mom is always so awesome with giving me the information. And she's the one who made me aware of the Fathers Club. And you know, I'm with anything where I can better help raise my children.
Exactly.
So I joined it and it's been awesome ever since, and here we are.
Yeah,
Thank
I love
you guys.
fathers like
No,
you
definitely.
guys. That's the thing that I really didn't see a lot of.
I'm old school, man. My family come from the South. I just wasn't raised like that.
I feel
you know,
you.
whether I'm
Stick
with the
your family
mom or
regardless.
not, you make a bed, you lay in it. You know what you
Exactly.
say? It's just insane, man.
Yeah.
I'm a father of 4. I have 2 boys, 2 girls. Jada being the youngest.
Okay.
And I love the awareness so much because, and even the fathers group, because again, it gives me information. And like I said, with the big corporations, I wish they were doing something. Because my biggest thing is the time. Jada's obviously autistic. I have 3 other children. When they all together, a lot of the attention has to go to Jada.
Right.
So my biggest struggle is the balance of the time and the attention.
Exactly.
When I have, like this weekend, it's Daddy weekend. So we're going to go ham. We're going to be hitting up cookouts and everything. Because more
look,
than
me and
weekend.
China.
Because I know my dad's gonna,
Like that.
probably throw a cookout.
Let us know,
But
'cause
that's,
we have to
no
come
doubt,
eat.
that's the biggest challenge, you know, just separating the time
Yeah.
and not, because my kids are unaware, you know, they know that she has special needs, but there's like, Daddy, we're over here too, you know.
Right,
and,
show us
and
some
I
love,
can't,
too.
I gotta, okay, she gotta be in that peripheral.
Right.
I gotta keep her, because she
Right.
she'll be
Right,
gone,
she'll be
you
out.
know, so that's my biggest challenge, but just, again, I want to continuously bring awareness, which is why I even wanted to be on this panel.
Thank you so much for
Hopefully,
coming.
reaching to a dad who's just flicking through and sees
Yeah,
it
right.
and recognizes me and say, yo, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then become aware, you know, it's just an
Yeah.
awesome thing, you know, especially
Yes,
for the
it
young
is.
people. I'm a young man,
Yeah.
so young people need to step up.
Yes,
Definitely
they
have to.
do. You never
We're
lie
getting a
about
bad
that.
rap out there, guys. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's 2 things I would look at. Firstly, men are not open to certain emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of emotion and strength to be able to deal with individuals with autism.
Mm-hmm.
My son Kadeem, he's a fantastic young man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mention before, but this young man is into karate, music, singing. He's my world.
Right.
Honey, I know you heard that, but he is our world.
Right,
He's the youngest of 4 children,
Right.
and his brothers and sisters do love him.
Right.
But you know, he does take our preference, and he is
There's also
upfront.
attention,
Yeah,
right.
also a lot of our attention.
Right.
If I was to do this all over again, would I change anything? In reality, no, because he's special.
Right.
Because we all are special,
Mm-hmm.
and because he has brought me a long ways, to the extent that I probably would totally retire and get an armchair and relax. But I
Right.
can't do that with him.
Right,
I'm always on
right,
the move.
right.
And I like that.
Keeping you young,
Oh,
right?
yeah, very
Keeping you in
young.
step, right,
Yeah,
right,
step
right,
to
right. Okay, great.
I would just say enjoy your child. Yes, you have to think in the future, but definitely, you know, I say stay in the now, because if you're so much in the future, you miss those moments. And
That's true.
you know, advocate. I'm a big believer in advocating for your child, but also, like he said, you know, his son is in karate, my son is doing tennis, he does swimming, he does horseback riding. You know, they're still kids at the end of the day. They want to do things, you know. And maybe if they don't want to do things, you have to teach them, you know, how to have fun, how to do things. So just love them.
Right. Okay, I want to thank my guests for being with us today. And our kids are special to us. If they ain't special to nobody else, we love our kids. And we just wanted to project that to you and give you an insight on what it's like raising kids, parenting autism. Thank you.
Yes. I need everybody to get their 2 steps on, toast in the end. You know? Yes. I need everybody to get their